What is up? We are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide. I'm the host with the most, the best one, Mr. We Are Wrestling, best one, Donnie here with...
What's going on, everybody? Danny Huckins here, man. 1/3 of We Are Wrestling. Me and Donnie riding solo this week, man. We got some AEW predictions that we're going to be doing for Double or Nothing this Sunday, man. It's going to be a long show, but I'm excited for it.
That's right. And to the We Are Wrestling Maniacs that are listening, that are watching, we want to give you guys heads up that this Sunday we will be doing a live watch along to AEW Double or Nothing. And with this video, we're going to be giving you guys our predictions for this upcoming pay-per-view. And Danny and I, we love to dive into the topics, and we're going to talk about each match, the way it's built, what we think is going to happen, all the good stuff. But before we do that, if you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, and you're not a part of the thousands of subscribers, the best way to support us is by hitting that subscribe button now, turning on the post notifications. Videos be coming out of nowhere like an RKO. And of course, you already know the grind is real.
You know, I was thinking about something, man. You know, seeing as we're, some days we do AEW content, some days we do WWE content, we got to come up with a different saying, man. We can't be saying coming out of nowhere like an RKO on an AEW topic.
Yeah. Okay, I got one. Coming out of nowhere like a coffin drop.
Woo! A buckshot lariat, a super kick, man.
Or
super
swanton bomb. There we go.
Coming out of nowhere like a swanton bomb. But I like that, man. I like that.
I like
Very
that
fitting.
one. Alrighty. Yeah, so before, we dive into the matches for AEW Double or Nothing, how do you feel about the overall build for AEW Double or Nothing this year?
I will say it's a lot better than the last pay-per-view that we watched, and there's gonna be a lot of misses on the show. I feel like they're not gonna nail everything, but as far as like the build and building up the stories and getting people excited, I feel like they're doing a really good job. I gotta admit, man, like I never would have thought I would be excited to see Jungle Boy, Sammy Guevara, MJF, Darby Allin, in a 4-way, but I feel like. I don't know. I feel like that match is gonna be match of the night, just because they're like technically the 4 pillars of AEW, and they've had long careers outside of AEW. They've all had independent runs or whatever, and wrestling each other on the independents, and now for them to get this opportunity and main event a huge show, this is AEW's WrestleMania in a lot of ways. So I think they're gonna the crazy shit that we're gonna see, bro, especially from like somebody like Sammy, Jungle Boy, and Darby Allin. Obviously MJF, he's gonna stay more on the ground. He's not necessarily a high flyer, but I feel like we're gonna be seeing some crazy shit in that match. I'm excited.
I think that we're really going to get a fun match out of that, and I think, all 4 guys are going to show up, and they're going to steal the show. In my opinion about the overall build for AEW Double or Nothing, out of a lot of the pay-per-views AEW has produced, the build for me, there's been a couple of them that I've been very invested in, but a lot of them I feel like was last minute, just like the last pay-per-view they had. Don't get me wrong, every single pay-per-view, they always over-deliver. They put on fantastic matches, but I need the builds to be also as special as the matches. And going into Double or Nothing, I feel like this year, some of the builds have been fantastic. The 4 pillars, I thought that they did a great job showcasing all 4 talent in the storylines. Also, the Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite, I've enjoyed, their storylines and their work going into this. And I must say, overall, I think that we're going to have some solid matches, but I think that they definitely lacked a little bit with good storytelling that would, sell us this pay-per-view. Because at the end of the day, we're spending, I think it's $40 or $50 we're spending.
I think it's about $50, $49.99.
We're spending about $49.99 on this pay-per-view, and you want to sell that to the audience, the consumer. And I feel like they did that for a couple of the matches, but most of them, they feel like they're just, throwing it on a wall, seeing what sticks, because they're more focused on Wembley Stadium and Collision.
Exactly, man. And I do feel like every year AEW grows. They're like I said, they're not gonna hit home runs every single time. Um, but I do feel like the build for this show has been a little bit better. Still some tweaking that needs to be done. It's not perfect, but I do feel like there's more of a build and more of a story going into this show than there was the last show. So
Yeah, no, that is, very true. I definitely got to agree with you on that one. But with that being said, let's dive into the matches. And before we dive into our first match, we just want to put out a disclaimer to the listeners, to the watchers, that Danny and I were recording our predictions for AEW Double or Nothing before AEW Dynamite tonight. So a lot of things can change from, here, but we're going to try to do our best with what we got. And the first match that we have on this list, which this is not in order at all, we're just going to go one by one randomly. We have Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho in an unsanctioned match.
I'm really looking forward to this, man. And I think I've said it before. You know, nobody knew if Adam Cole was going to be able to come back. With the concussion, and this is legitimately, I think, his first match or his second match back since Forbidden Door last year. And nobody thought he was going to be able to come back just because of the injury, and they showcased it on AW All Access. But I can't think of anybody better for him to feud with than Chris Jericho. Chris Jericho is he's one of those guys, bro. He gets it. You know what I mean? He understands, like, he knows how to put people over. Him and Adam Cole are gonna make each other look like $1,000,000, bro. It's gonna be such a good match.
Can I just say this? That Falls Count Anywhere match with Roderick Strong and Chris Jericho was
Fucking
such a
hilarious.
fun match. That's what I miss, man. It reminded me of like the Attitude Era with like the hardcore title, the 24/7 rules. And like AEW, man, I hope they do more Falls Count Anywhere matches in the future
I
because
like
that
when
was really fun.
I like when they take the matches like outside, it's not just in the building, but like outside. And like, especially if like they were to do it in like a crowded area, seeing the look on people's faces that don't know what the fuck is going on. They're like, yeah, is somebody gonna call the cops on these guys? Like, what's going like, there's a lot of people that don't get it. And just like the look on like their face. You kind of knew something was gonna happen though, because they did have security guards outside holding people back or
Mhm.
whatever. So, obviously it was a planned thing. But
So much fun.
I love when they take wrestling outside of the element of being inside the building and taking it like outside. It's
Like
awesome.
Roderick Strong throwing the soft serve ice cream at Jericho, that was fantastic.
I heard that was supposed to be something else, and I guess the woman behind the counter didn't have it ready in time or something like that. I don't
Huh.
know. There was another spot for that, but that was all improvised.
Yeah, so my thoughts on Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho. I think that this storyline has been pretty decent. It has been a good storyline. I definitely would have done, show more intensity in the storyline a little bit because I feel like that's something with like brawls that are very important to me. Like I want to see that intensity. I want to see, the anger like we're seeing right now with Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar. That was,
Mhm.
missing during, the Backlash build. But like with Adam Cole and Chris Jericho, they have told a decent story here and I think that these two are going to have a fantastic match and this is going to be a different style match Adam Cole's going to wrestle. And I'm kind of excited to see, both guys in the ring against each other because I think that this will be the first time.
Yeah, it's like I said, regardless, it's going to be a good match. And I don't know. Adam Cole is just one of those guys. Like, I think I've said out on an episode of the podcast before, to where he's almost like this generation's Shawn Michaels. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be awesome.
New episodes of the podcast are, on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel every Saturday.
Exactly, man. Check it out. Download us, man. I want to be downloaded.
So I gotta say, with Adam Cole and Chris Jericho, I think that I'm gonna have to go with Adam Cole on this one. He just came back. It wouldn't make sense for Jericho to beat him unless they're going to continue the storyline, but I feel like they're going to move on after this match. That's why they're doing it unsanctioned. And I think that Adam Cole is going to be focusing on the AEW World Heavyweight Championship and have a
Plus,
feud probably with MJF.
Plus, with him like getting like handcuffed and watching the Outcast, team up with Jericho and beat up Britt and stuff like that, and everybody like, especially if you watch like AW All Access or you know anything about Adam Cole, like Britt Baker is his fucking life. You know what I mean? They don't have any kids or whatever. All they have is really each other. So, he's gonna want to definitely get some redemption, on that attack. And it was really smart with the whole Roderick Strong Jericho Falls Out Anywhere match because Adam Cole was banned from the building, but so was JAS. Well, so what did Roderick Strong brought Jericho outside to where it was
And
legal
that
for Adam
is
Cole
what
to
I
be there.
really liked about the Falls Count Anywhere match because it made sense. Technically, he was supposed to be outside the building. He was outside the building. So I kind of like how they had one up on Jericho. And I like how in the storyline, like we're seeing both sides.
Yep.
Jericho's trying to get into Adam Cole's head, but Adam Cole is already in Jericho's head. And that's the story that they're telling. And I think they're both doing a fantastic job. I love that they brought Britt Baker into this to make it more reality, make it more real, because of course that's going to give Adam Cole a reason to focus on Chris Jericho and not somebody else. So honestly, I really did like this build overall, and I think that they're setting Adam Cole up to be the next guy to go for the world title.
Exactly, man. Adam Cole's gonna win this match. It's gonna be a hell of a match, but I feel like this match is gonna resemble, all the feuds that Shawn Michaels and Jericho had back in the day. You know what I mean? It's gonna have that same feeling to it, the same stakes behind it. It's gonna be a good match. I'm looking forward to it, man.
I'm excited. But moving on now to the next match on the card, we have a random 6-man tag team match. If Hardy Party wins, Matt Hardy will own Ethan Page's contract. Ethan Page and the Guns versus the Hardy Party, which is, Jeff Hardy, Matt Hardy, and Isaiah Cassidy. Oh, yeah?
Normally I wouldn't be into a match like this, but I'm a huge Hardy mark, man. We almost went to almost every single independent show they had in 1 month. Remember at the back in 2022, we saw him at a meet and greet, and then we went to like 2 or 3 shows that same month, and the Hardys were all there. Um, Normally I wouldn't be into a match like this, but I'm a huge Man Jeff fan. And people can say whatever they want, but I do think that Ethan Page and Matt Hardy have great chemistry with together. Yeah, Ethan Page is just one of those guys. Like, he's filled with charisma. He's entertaining to watch. He's funny at times. I want to know what they're like, how they're gonna go about this. Like, what the Hardys are gonna put Ethan Page through if they do own Ethan Page's contract. It's gonna be kind of, it's not gonna be great, but it's gonna be entertaining. I'm looking forward to it.
Here's the thing, like for me, I'm on the opposite side of the fence here because I feel like all 6 of these guys that are going to be in this match deserve so much more. And I thought
Yeah.
that the storyline should have ended during, the whole deletion match that they
Firm
had, on
deletion,
the
man.
Hardy compound. And I think they should have moved on from that. Ethan Page has a lot of promise. And when the firm first came together, I thought that this was going to set Ethan Page up to that next level that, we've been wanting for a while. And at first, it was looking very good. He was, in the finals against Ricky Starks, for a shot at the AEW World Heavyweight Championship. They were, putting him on TV as one of the main acts, going after MJF, going after, John Moxley. He was feeling very important. And I feel like a lot of that has just, diminished ever since the Matt Hardy storyline. I'm glad they get TV time, but I wish that they would be doing more. And obviously, the Hardys, we already know what the plan's going to be. At Wembley Stadium, they're going to want the Hardy Boys versus FTR for the tag team championships. And they're not going to want to throw the Hardys right into the tag team title picture because you have to give it time. And
Mhm.
Isaiah Cassidy is starting to get more over with the crowd, and he's gotten great chemistry with Matt Hardy, mentoring him and Mark Quinn the last couple of years. So I understand why they have that pairing, and Isaiah Cassidy is starting to become his own, which I'm very, happy to see that because before he got signed to AEW, him and Mark Quinn, I used to watch them all the time in, Blitzkrieg Pro and, Northeast Wrestling before, getting this opportunity. So seeing a guy that I've watched grind all those years in the independent circuit to get to where they're at now, I'm very happy about that. I just feel like the Guns, they even deserve more. I know that they lost to FTR. Maybe I would have rather had the Guns versus FTR during Double or Nothing than Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal because they lost the titles. They should get a rematch clause. Jeff and Jay, they've already lost more times than the freaking fingers on my hands. Yet they're getting another title match, and I'm really not looking forward to that one. But I gotta say, man, the 6-man tag match, I'm not really like behind it that much.
Like I said, is it gonna be fantastic? Is it gonna be a show stealer? No, it's pretty much mindless entertainment. That's exactly what a match like this is for. And every card has to have a match like that, to where you just shut your brain off and just watching guys beat the hell out of each other, and they're gonna get a huge pop because everybody loves Matt and Jeff. And like the Hardys, they've done the grind, bro. They've done pretty much everything there is to do outside of obviously winning the AEW tag titles. And that'll come in due time. I'm sure. I'm sure they'll hold the titles for a little bit before they hang up the boots and call it quits. But I feel like uh, for many years, all they did was grind and worry about championships and worry about being like
Mhm.
some of the top guys or whatever.
Yeah,
And
they want to have fun.
I feel like they're at the stage of the career to where they just want to go out there and just have fun, man. That's what it's all about. Like, if you're not having fun, pro wrestling, then you shouldn't be in the business to begin with.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think for me, I would have enjoyed the Guns versus the Hardys on the show than
That
the
would have been a
six-man tag match.
because the
Because they
Hardys.
could have no, because they could have had the Guns attack the Hardys a few weeks ago. That's how they could have started this feud. And why are we bringing the Guns back with Ethan Page and the Firm when they were originally a part of it, but then after I think it was Full Gear, they disappeared from the group and they focused on, the acclaimed feud and winning the tag titles.
Yeah, that would have made a lot of sense too, because back in the day, back in like 2099, 2000, the Hardys had a lot of wars with the New Age Outlaws. So all these years later, to have the Hardys have wars with Billy Gunn's kids, bro, that would have been like a 20 years, like, full circle moment in a way. Now that you mention it, I would much rather have that match.
Like, don't get me wrong. Ethan Page and Isaiah Cassidy are very talented. All 6 of these guys are super talented. I just wish that, like, they would be doing more with them. And,
Yeah.
like, if Hardy Party wins, Matt owns Ethan Page's contract. What is that supposed to mean?
I think it's because secretly Ethan Page wants to be aligned with the Hardys. He said how big of a fan he was when he was a kid, and to have be in a storyline with them is like a dream come true. So I do secretly think that he talked to Tony Khan, was like, yeah, I want to partner with the Hardys. How can we make it make sense? I honestly think that's why this match came about.
I know,
And
I just
this
feel like Ethan Page is a bigger star than how they're booking him, and I feel like he
Yeah,
deserves a little bit more. But
but I
who do we
mean,
have winning this?
I gotta go with Hardy Party. It doesn't make sense for Ethan Page to win, and you're like, so like if the Hardys win, they get Ethan Page's contract. But if Ethan Page wins, what does he have? They didn't announce anything that he has, so it only makes sense that the Hardy Party ends up winning, and possibly this the end of the Firm. I do think Big Bill, a lot of people like his pairing with Lee Moriarty. I think he should go back to, being Kaz XL. I think AW and
Or
TK need
Morrissey
I think
in Impact?
AW and TK need to bring in
Enzo?
um Enzo. I had a brain fart there for a second. And put them as a tag team. They tag team on the independents. They still have really good chemistry together. I mean, bro, one of the funniest moments in my fucking life was the whole boxing scene in Northeast Wrestling between Matt Hardy and Enzo, bro. That shit fucking had me dying. I would love to see that on like
I
a
wouldn't
national
mind
level.
seeing that too, man. I got to agree with you
And
because the
Enzo can
tag
still
teams are
talk.
lacking right now. So why not bring something that's not broken?
And Enzo can still talk, bro. Enzo is if he's better probably now than he was when he was in WWE. I don't know why TK wouldn't capitalize on this opportunity. You already have Morrissey. Bring in Enzo, bro. It makes fucking sense.
Yeah, no, I got to agree with you on that. But honestly, I'm going to have to go with the Hardy Party. I just hope after this is the end of the Firm and the Hardys story. Let's give the Hardys more consistent tag matches on Dynamite and Collision, the next few months to build their resume up so that they can go against FTR in that dream match in Wembley Stadium. Because we do have a lot of tag teams that aren't being utilized. We can have the Hardys versus Butcher and Blade. We can have the Hardys versus the Guns. We can have the Hardys versus Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal as a good filler. So, there's definitely things you can do there. I just don't want the Hardys to get thrown into it. I want
Yep,
it to make sense.
exactly. And like, I don't even know if the Hardys and FTR have had any kind of interactions. I don't know. I don't know.
Not yet, I don't
I don't.
think.
I don't. I
Unless
don't.
they did in WWE in 2017, but that doesn't really my memory when it comes to that time, I don't remember much.
I know. I have no recollection of it. So, I mean, like I said, either way, this match is gonna be mindless entertainment. It's gonna be entertaining. It's gonna be fun to watch. This is one of those matches where shut your brain off, just relax, eat your popcorn, drink your Gatorade or whatever, and just watch dudes perform in the ring. Because either way, regardless if this match is gonna steal the show or not, each one of these guys is insanely talented. And it's awesome that they're going to be able to showcase their
It's gonna be
ability
a
on a
fun
large
match.
scale.
It
It
will
is.
be. But now, speaking of a great shut your brain off match, we have a singles match for the AEW TBS champion. Let's keep this one short, please. Jade
Okay.
Cargill versus Taya Valkyrie.
I would love for Taya Valkyrie to win, but I know she's not going to. I've heard a lot of rumors over the last couple of months that Chris Statlander is going to be the one to dethrone Jade Cargill when she comes back
I'm
from
going to say it
injury.
right here. Chris Statlander, she's going to make her return at Double or Nothing
I could honestly
in
see
some
that.
capacity.
I could honestly see that. I could see Jade Cargill winning, and then Chris Statlander comes out and takes her out, and that's how they build up the feud for maybe Forbidden Door, Wembley Stadium, whatever. I could honestly see that happening because if Chris Statlander comes back, her and Jade are gonna have a match on a big stage. They're not just gonna do it on a Rampage or a fucking Dynamite.
Honestly, it could be the first episode of Collision. Give it that fresh start.
I know. I mean, it could be, but I don't know.
But here's the thing. I think, Chris Statlander, she's going to make her return. I hope that's the case because that's the only thing that's going to be exciting about this. Taya Valkyrie is very talented. Jade Cargill is very talented, but bad booking is what makes this match not exciting because Jade Cargill's title run at first was all right, and now it's just become this really repetitive thing.
I will
They're having
say,
her go against nobodies half the time.
yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, I will say, like, for somebody that's never wrestled outside of AEW, she I think she was like a bodybuilder, and somebody from AEW discovered her, and wanted to bring her in or whatever, and trained her and stuff like that. So she doesn't know anything outside of AEW.
Well,
So she
WWE
was
was interested in her at one point, but because of the schedule, she turned it down because she had her daughter.
yeah. Um, but she has improved so much since she came into the
Yes.
company. She used to be really green. You can tell she bust ass to she really loves this business. And like you can tell when people love it or people they're just doing it for the money and stuff like that because it shows in their performance. She has gotten really good, and really fast. Surprisingly, I think she's only been at it 2 years. Like she's gotten really good. But the thing is, everybody talks about how dominating her title reign is and how dominating she is or whatever. And I hear even people comparing her to Roman Reigns and stuff like that. It's fucking ridiculous.
Please don't do that because Jade Cargill is good, but she's not Roman Reigns status.
So yeah. Um Jade Cargill, everybody compares her, title reign to Roman Reigns, like I was saying. And saying how dominating her title reign is. But I don't understand how, she gets all this praise when 9 times out of 10 she's beating jobbers and people that, enhancement talent, people that are supposed to be there to make her look good. I mean, if she did that once in a while and like we have yet to see her go up against people like, Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, Saraya, Tony Storm, like
That's
all
where my
these
problem
people,
is.
it just I feel like she's diminishing her title reign, with only facing enhancement talent because it doesn't make her like, at first it makes you look dominating, but when every single match you're in lasts like 15 to 20 seconds sometimes, maybe 2 minutes at that, like it doesn't make you look that good or that, tough.
And they do it just for that number. And I even forget sometimes that she's the TBS champion. I forget that there is a TBS champion because of how lacklusterly boring this title run has been. And no dissing, I'm not dissing Jade Cargill. I think she's fantastic, like you said. The last 2 years, she's improved drastically. I remember her first promo with Brandy Rhodes, and she completely botched it to, getting to where she's at now, working very good in the ring. One of, my favorites in the AEW women's division, I would say, like the way she presents herself. She makes you, feel like she's $1,000,000, which that's what you want in, a big star. And I
Hmm.
also really enjoyed her run with Smart Mark Sterling a lot. I don't know why they decided to, cut that. I know at times he still comes out with her and stuff. They've been slowly bringing him back. But I got to say, with Jade Cargill, a lot of these matches is just for the number, for the streak, and I'm just getting tired of this title run. Like, I feel like somebody like Britt Baker could use the TBS title because Jamie Hayter has the AEW Women's World title. So there you go. That can build
Hmm.
more into the storyline with the Outcast because right now that's the biggest storyline AEW is trying to push in their women's division is the Outcast versus the AEW Originals. And that championship can definitely do more good than harm when it comes to that storyline. And
Yep.
I just feel like, this title, I forget it's even there. And Taya Valkyrie, she's very talented, but they pretty much just have her as a filler for Jade Cargill, which, I don't like that. I feel like Taya Valkyrie definitely deserves a lot more. Why can't we get like a storyline with Taya Valkyrie and like Ty Mello, for example? Or, Anna Jay, or, somebody else that like could definitely, push her more because she's in the same position that she once was in WWE. And we already know what's going to happen. It's going to be Jade Cargill. She's going to retain the title. Hopefully, Chris, comes back and takes that title off of her so we can, bring some prestige back to, the mid card women's title.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't really think too much about this match. So, like, this is again, just like, we were just talking about with the Hardy Party. This is another match that, for a lot of people, mindless entertainment. There's really nothing to it. Taya Valkyrie, she hasn't been getting booked that great since she came into the company. Part of me even thinks, we'll go as far as saying maybe she made a mistake into signing with AW. And I'm an AW fan, man, but they don't. They sign people way too fast. They don't have the TV time to showcase everybody. So like you'll see somebody make a debut and then you won't see them for 3 4 weeks, and then they'll come back randomly and like like just
That's their biggest issue. And
it just
like they're
there's
not
nothing
thinking
meaningful about it.
long term when they're signing these talent. And that's the big issue with AEW that I have. And I'm a day one AEW fan. I still enjoy AEW a lot more than I do with WWE because I prefer, the pro wrestling over the sports entertainment. But that's the issue. Like when they're bringing these people in, they're not thinking a year from now. They're not thinking 6 months from now. They're thinking 2 weeks,
Yeah, pretty
sometimes
much.
even a week.
Pretty much, man. Long time storytelling is, killing AEW in a lot of ways. I think so.
Yeah. But moving on now to the next match here, which this one I'm definitely very excited about. We have the Anarchy in the Arena match. The Blackpool Combat Club, Bryan Danielson, Jon Moxley, Claudio, and Wheeler Yuta versus the Elite. Kenny Omega, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Hangman Adam Page.
This is definitely a match I'm looking forward to, man. Anarchy at the Arena last year, didn't they had John Moxley's song playing for like 5 minutes? It
Yeah,
was
they had Jon
hilarious.
Moxley's music playing, and I think that was during Full Gear 2021 when that
Yeah.
happened because Bryan Danielson got hurt in that match.
Yes. Yes, I remember that. This is gonna be a fun match, man. You don't know what's gonna happen in the match. They're in Las Vegas. What stays in Vegas. What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Um, you know, the Elite and BCC are gonna beat the hell out of each other. That's all I can say, man. Like, especially like now you got Don Callis in the mix. He turned on Kenny Omega in the Elite. Now he's with. Is he legitimately like? Is he gonna be like taking over William Regal's position and like being with BCC, or is he sort of like the odd man out? He was just sick of the bullshit Kenny Omega did. Like, I have so many questions, man, and the show is happening on Sunday, and we have yet to get any kind of real, answer as to what is happening. Don Callis spoke last week, and obviously we didn't really hear much outside of, oh, I did this for Kenny Omega, I did that for Kenny
I
Omega,
know I was looking for more answers on that, but the crowd, man, he was getting a great heat from it, which I really do like a lot.
Yeah.
But I gotta
Don,
say, man, with this match, probably besides the 4 pillar match, this is one I'm really looking forward to. I think that they've done a fantastic job long-term storytelling here with this feud because a lot of people forget about the Elite with, the whole Hangman and, the Elite situation there because Kenny Omega and Hangman, they had one of the longest, title runs in the early days of, AEW.
yeah,
And then, Kenny Omega turned heel. And then, the Young Bucks eventually, turned on Hangman, didn't want to be his friend. It was all, miscommunication. And like they really told the story long term. Even when they were doing programs with other people, they were still doing little things to, build to this moment when they all came back together because they have one goal now, and that is to take out the Blackpool Combat Club. And now with the Blackpool Combat Club bringing in Bryan Danielson and having them as full heels, I love it. They, right now, to me, they're probably my favorite faction in AEW. I love, Bryan Danielson having this edge to him now ever since, losing to MJF in that, great Iron Man match. And, Jon Moxley kind of taking the back seat now. I really like that as well because I feel like sometimes, in wrestling, less is more. And Jon Moxley has been shoved in our faces a lot. And,
yeah.
now Bryan Danielson is taking the lead. And I think it's only going to benefit Jon Moxley, moving forward. And I got to say, man, this one's going to be a good one. And I'm going to have to say the Blackpool Combat Club is going to be at the Elite this time because the feud will not end at this pay-per-view. And I
It
think
won't.
that Don Callis is going to be, a factor in this. And I think that Takeshita is going to join the Blackpool Combat Club.
And I love how they added a botch into the storyline, bro. When Don Callis was getting beat up backstage and he ended up, getting cut open. That was a botch, bro. He wasn't supposed to bleed. His forehead hit something on his when he fell to the floor. Because Sean Ross Sapp and Fightful posted an article about it the Thursday after it happened and said that wasn't supposed to happen. So I mean, adds elements to the story, I guess, with whatever story they're trying to say.
I think that Takeshita, he's gonna, join the Blackpool Combat Club because there's always a saying, once you bleed with the Blackpool Combat Club, you're a part of it. And we saw that with Wheeler Yuta, and we saw it with Takeshita. He got his ass whooped, and they made him bleed. And I think that he's going to be the fifth member of the Combat Club, and I think the Elite, they're going to get somebody else involved in it, and I think eventually the way that this feud is going to end, it will be blood and guts.
I will say, man, like as far as this feud goes, right? I'm a little iffy on the whole, everybody in here is amateurs. I'm not. That just seems more like childhood, childish bullshit. I mean, I feel like as creative as everybody in BCC is, they couldn't have come up with something other than just calling everybody in the company amateurs besides them. It's just I don't know, that doesn't really sell me on too much as far as like the storyline goes and like
Mm-hmm.
the promos and stuff like that. Because everybody knows how fucking talented John Moxley, Danielson, Claudio are. Obviously, Will Yuta, he's still learning, he's still growing, but Moxley, Claudio, and Danielson, like they're first ballot Hall of Famers. They've been in this business a long time. So it's just weird to me that they can't come up with anything more creative than that. As far as selling me
Mm-hmm.
on the storyline, but
And I gotta say, I think like Takeshita joining the group, I think that that would be a good thing, because then you can have Takeshita and Wheeler Yuta try to go for the tag titles, and that would give them, something different in the group. And with the Elite, I think that this is just gonna further the storyline. I think that this is definitely not over yet, and I think that they have a lot more storytelling that they're going to do here. And I really love the dynamic of the Elite being back together, all four guys. So, like, going into this, everyone's going to think the Elite, we're back together. We're going to take out the Blackpool Combat Club. Happy ending. And I think
yep.
that's where, Don Callis and, Takeshita, that's where they're going to cost the Elite this match. And then we're going to be, moving forward with this long term storyline, because this is, one of the top storylines right now in AEW, but except, behind the AEW World Championship. I think that this is, definitely number 2 right now.
Yeah, and we're gonna see. I'm gonna have to see how it plays out.
So who do you got?
Um, I gotta go with BCC. I do think it makes sense. But I will say one thing. I wanted to mention something because you were talking about having Willie Yuta and Takeshita as like a tag team going for the tag team titles. I'm telling you, man, if any of these motherfuckers have them dressed up like ninjas, I'm calling it fucking quits, bro.
And I don't think that's going to happen if they're a part of the Blackpool Combat Club. They're going to be taken seriously, and we need more tag teams. So it only does make sense if they, pair those two up. They have a similar style in the ring that I think could really, work well with team chemistry.
But yeah, I think BCC is gonna win. It's gonna be a hard hitting match. But then again, like I can see the Elite winning this match, and then obviously the feud's gonna get carried over. I've usually, you know, e- the Elite are, the baby face in this situation, so everybody's gonna want them to win. So I could see the Elite winning this match, and then obviously having it carry over to like Forbidden Door or maybe Wembley Stadium. That'd be a fucking huge match to sell at the show. You could do it there. Maybe a cage match or like some kind of like almost like a War Games match, but
Blood and
AW's
guts.
version, something like that. Like I could see that happening at Wembley Stadium or something. So I don't know. I mean, if it seems like the Elite has lost a lot of their big matches ever recent, they lost to House of Black. They don't have that good of a track record. You know, so I could very well see the Elite beating BCC and then having them carry over and having them continue this feud. BCC are going to be really pissed off that they lost. They're going to end up being like, "Oh, that was a fluke victory. That was a fluke victory." Just carry on, carry over. If BCC wins, I mean, I don't necessarily know just
And we haven't
because
not
the
seen Brian Danielson wrestle until, Double or Nothing.
Exactly.
And that's why I
You know,
think, Blackpool Combat Club, they're going to win, under Bryan Danielson's leadership. And I think that we're really going to build the Blackpool Combat Club as like this next, legitimate group. And I think eventually, the Elite, they're going to be able to beat the Blackpool Combat Club. And that's where, the feud's going
if
to end.
if BCC wins, it's gonna be the end of feud. I don't see them continuing it. I don't see unless BCC turns babyface and the Elite turn heel. I
Takeshita,
don't see
man,
it.
he's gonna screw the Elite, I think. And that's
I
going to
don't
add
know.
another element to the storyline, but we're going to have to wait and see. I got Blackpool Combat Club.
I do too, but I part of me does hope that the Elite wins because it'll make more sense for them to carry on over in the storyline to like, a bigger match at a bigger time and place. So
All right, well, moving forward now to the next match. It is a singles match for the AEW Women's World Championship. Jamie Hayter defending the title against Toni Storm.
the hip attack, man. Um Jamie Hayter, phenomenal. I'm glad that, they took she's not just the, interim women's champion. She's the legit
Thank
champion.
God.
Um, and, whatever I have to say has nothing to do with her, Britt Baker, or anything. I don't like the Outcast. I don't like the storyline that they're in. I don't like the whole spray painting. It's like a female version of it. It's almost like remember when Ghostbusters, man. Everybody knows the original Ghostbusters, like fucking huge. Remember when they had the remake a couple years ago of an all women's Ghostbusters and it got fucking trashed by all the critics and everybody fucking hated it.
Yep.
It almost seems like this is like a female version of NWO. Like we've been there and done that, bro. We don't need to go back to that. I don't need to see people getting spray painted and like it's just it's not scary. It doesn't add any elements to the heel work. It doesn't do anything to elevate the story or elevate the people within the story. Like I just don't need to see it, man. I really like every time I see him on TV, it's like I start to fall asleep. They're like, and that's insane for me to say, man. Ruby, Tony, Saraya, like they're all fucking talented as shit. But like, do something different. Do something that's gonna add elements to the story and to your characters. Like, fuck, all you're doing is fucking using green spray paint, and then fucking obviously Tony Storm has a hip attack. That's legit everything that the Outcast is. You know what I mean? It's just I don't like seeing it. It's just boring to me.
Here's the thing, like for me, I just feel like because like my opinion about the Outcast, I've been very critical about the group. And I like the branding of it. I like, the
I like
logo.
the
I
green
like
and
the
black.
entrance. I like the members in the group. But there's just one thing that's just missing about it. And Ruby Soho, I think, did a fantastic job explaining why they're together. Like, I wish that we had that in the beginning so it made
Mhm.
more sense when this happened. So it had a bigger payoff. Because for me, I think, when it comes to like a debut or, something, it's all about first impressions. And with the Outcast, their first impression, it was just a random episode of Dynamite where Saraya turned heel and there was no reaction whatsoever. There was no reason behind it. Made absolute no sense. And that's like where I think a lot of people have their issues with the Outcast. And for me, like I think that the group has potential, but it all comes back to the first time that they, formed the group. Like it made no sense how they turned Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter from, being heels their whole AEW run to now being baby faces and then having the Outcast, having Saraya turning heel on a random episode for no reason. Like if she went for
Yep.
the AEW women's title and lost and then attacked Jamie Hayter after that, that would have made sense. They should have done something there, but why was it random? That's the issue I have with this whole thing. But I do got to say, I'm excited for this match. Toni Storm's run has been a little bit of lackluster, but I think ever since she's been a part of the Outcast, she has been one of the positive things in that group. I like the way that she's being presented. I like the way that they're using her. And honestly, I think if she does win, because Jamie Hayter is, dealing with an injury right now, I think that she's going to have a way better title run this time around than she did the first time.
Yep. Like I said, like I don't mind it. I like Saraya, I like Tony Storm, I like Ruby Soho. It's just this storyline between them like has not been intriguing to watch whatsoever. Like if I had to say anything, I would consider it to be a train wreck. Missed opportunity after missed opportunity,
It
and
all comes
like
back to that first time that they presented this group.
you have these three legends pretty much, and that's exactly what they are because they've all Paige has been in the business a long ass time. Ruby So has been in the business a long ass time. Tony Storm has been in the business a long ass time. Um, it's like you have these three women who are really creative, but this is all you have them doing. You know
Mhm.
what I mean? This is almost like remember when Tony Storm was on SmackDown and all she was doing was getting pied in the face by Charlotte Flair and vice versa. Like,
I can't compare. I can't compare that to the whole
this
time
is
thing.
this is not any better in my opinion, bro. This is not any better. Like it's just boring to
Well,
watch.
Tony Storm is being taken serious. That's the important thing out of this.
Yeah, she's being
She is
taken
one of the
serious,
upsides
but
of the group. You do have to admit that at least.
there's like I could have seen this group being like a female Judgment Day, instead of they're like a female version of something that should be on Pee Wee's Playhouse, like
Mickey
it's
Mouse
just
Clubhouse.
but like legit like the amount of talent that each one of these women had, bro, they could have been a female version of Judgment Day on AEW TV, and they're not,
You
they're
know,
far from it.
so who do we have winning this match?
I gotta go with Jamie Hayter.
So for me, like, I want Jamie Hayter to win, but I feel like it's going to be Tony Storm who wins this. And I love Jamie Hayter, but I think that Tony Storm winning the championship could be a good thing because eventually Saraya could get jealous of Tony Storm having the title. And there you go. You can break the outcast up right there, and we can have something bigger play out.
Mm,
And Tony Storm, she's on a roll right now. And if the rumors are true that Jamie Hayter is, dealing with an injury, I think that, it is best to, have her put Tony Storm over in this situation. And it comes back full circle. Tony Storm lost to Jamie Hayter. Now, Tony Storm gets the title and Jamie Hayter can, take the time, heal up, get back to 100%. And when she comes back, put her back in the position where she was. And maybe
yeah.
have a feud with Britt Baker, and we can have something bigger play off there.
We definitely can. I mean, I don't really think too much about this match because the build hasn't been that great, and it hasn't really I haven't gotten invested in the story that they're trying to tell. But I do think it's gonna be a good match, regardless. Like I do think all these women, have, everything it takes to be phenomenal performers, and they are. It's just the storyline aspect that I'm not crazy about.
Mhm. Well, moving on now to the next match on the card. We have a 21-man blackjack battle royal for the AEW International Championship. Orange Cassidy defending the title against Aaron Solo, Powerhouse Hobbs, QT Marshall, and 17 to be announced competitors, which I'm sure we'll be knowing who it is by the time, this is already up.
You know, out of everybody on signed to the AEW roster, Orange Cassidy is the most consistent champion on the entire fucking brand. Not even show. Just everybody signed to the fucking roster that has a championship, bro. Orange Cassidy is, lived up to the hype pretty much. Almost every single week, bro. He's defending the title against somebody. And they're really good matches. They're not even just like, oh, it's a 2-minute match here and there, squash match or whatever. They're legit matches too.
Banger after
And
banger.
and I like that. I could consider. I want Pac to win the title. I could see, Buddy Matthews, Malachi Black. Like, there's a lot of people I could see having the title. And with this championship, I feel like they went against what the championship was supposed to be. It's by having Orange Cassidy win it. It was the championship when if you remember when it first got introduced. Obviously, I think that's why they, the name change came. But when it first got introduced, it was the title that was going to showcase performers from all around the world.
Mhm.
UK performers, Asian performers, people in Mexico and stuff like that. And Orange Cassidy has had it, for quite a bit now. So I do feel like, they went against what the title meant in the beginning.
You know what they
Um,
should have done
so
with Orange Cassidy? They should have had this historic title run be with the TNT title.
it could have made the TNT title prestigious instead of looking like a fucking something that you
Exactly,
would.
because right now Orange Cassidy is making that international title very prestigious. I really love the way that they're doing this long-term story booking here. I'm seeing it. I love that, they're really exposing the injuries because Orange Cassidy is, being a defending champion for the people. And, he's having these great matches against people that, make it very unpredictable. Like, him versus Daniel Garcia a few weeks ago. I thought that Daniel Garcia really had a chance of winning that title. And
Yeah.
going into these Orange Cassidy matches, a lot of us, have the other person winning. So it is very unpredictable because we really don't know what's going to happen. And that's what makes Orange Cassidy's character so unique in this situation here. And I think with this battle royal, I've already doubted him throughout his entire title run. I'm going to doubt him again. And I think that Miro is going to come back and win the battle royal and win the title. And we're going to get a fresh start.
I don't know. I honestly, me
Or
personally,
Andrade, one or the other.
me personally, I don't think we're gonna. Andrade is rehabbing from an injury. I don't see Miro or Andrade coming back until AW Collision starts because they're technically gonna be, I think it's gonna be very rare if we see Miro on Dynamite. Personally, because if he was gonna be on Dynamite, where the fuck has he been the last 9 months? Um, I would love to see that. It's hard to say who's gonna win this match because we don't know everybody that's gonna be in it. So I feel like it would be unfair for us to be like, oh, this person's gonna win the match. They end up not being in the match to begin with. You know what I mean? So this is one of those matches to where I don't honestly know if we can give our true predictions until we know exactly. Like maybe we can, give a quick little, rundown of this match, before the show starts when we go live. But I honestly don't know if we can give our predictions because we don't know everybody that's going to be in the match, and it would be very unfair of us to, you know, to do that because I feel like Orange Cassidy is one of those performers that he's made this championship very prestigious. I can say this: I'm about 80% sure he's not going to retain. I can't say I 100 because, like I said, he's had a couple matches throughout his title reign. I thought he was going to lose,
Me too.
um, but I will say I'm about 80% sure he's not going to retain. But I can't honestly give my prediction on this match because I don't know who else is going to be in the match. So
Mhm.
it wouldn't necessarily be fair.
Yeah, I respect that. I think that, Orange Cassidy, I love, how this title run has really pushed his character as well. I love the chemistry that we're getting, every week now with him and Renee. I love those segments. They make me laugh hysterically. And I just love that he's just like, whatever, I'll go
I
against everybody for a title.
I don't like the fact that he keeps the title in the backpack though. I understand it's part of his character and stuff like that. I do feel like Orange Cassidy, even if he loses, he's still gonna be over as fuck. He's one of those characters that he's almost like Danhausen. Like he gets his ass kicked all the time, but he's entertaining as fuck to watch, and he's over his shit with the crowd. But I don't like the fact that he has the title in the backpack all the time. So I honestly don't think he even needs the title. Like he's like one of those guys. Like if he loses, he's gonna be like whatever. He just won't have to carry a backpack around. Like that's
Mhm.
what I feel like. So I it's gonna be a
I'm
good.
enjoying this run from him. I just wish it was the, TNT title
Yeah,
because I think it would make more sense, because of the way that they at first presented the All Atlantic Championship, showcasing more international guys and, Orange Cassidy I think could be making that championship more prestigious on the TNT title side because right now the TNT title is just flipping around like a pancake at this
yeah.
point. Which that is the next match that we are going to be diving into. We have a ladder match for the AEW TNT Championship. Wardlow defending the title against Christian Cage.
I am really looking forward to this match.
Me too.
It was a little weird when this match, first got announced or whatever. Everybody assumed that it was going to be Luchasaurus versus Wardlow. Um, I like this match for the simple fact that it's sort of like nostalgia in a way. Seeing Christian in a ladder match. He made his name during the TLC matches back in the day and stuff like that. So it's going to be cool. Seeing him climb the ladder one more time. But I feel like it should have been Luchasaurus, man. I feel like Luchasaurus and Wardlow would have tore the roof off the building. As much as I like Christian, I don't think he's gonna win. Um, and I do feel like in a way it's almost like he's managing Luchasaurus, but he took this opportunity away from Luchasaurus or whatever. So, I don't know. I just for nostalgia purposes, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to the match either way. But I'm one of those guys like nostalgia and everything. I kind of wish Luchasaurus would have got this opportunity to showcase really what he can do because everybody knows how athletic the fucking guy is.
And that's the thing. Like, I've already said this a lot of times, and I'm going to say it again. Luchasaurus' singles run has been very lackluster. I feel like he would be great with Lance Archer, with
Oh
Jake the
yeah,
Snake Roberts. I think that they would make a fantastic tag team. They have similar, wrestling styles, and you have the Murder Hawk Monster, and, pretty
the,
much, you got the dinosaur and Luchasaurus, and I think that they could make a really fun, dominant tag team in a division that's right now kind of lacking it because, they have a lot of these tag teams, forming trio groups.
I have the
And,
perfect name for him: Team Rex.
Team Rex, there you go. But I just think that with, Christian Cage versus Wardlow, this is going to be a great match. And I love, that Christian is going against, homegrown AEW talent because we've always known that Christian loves the spotlight when he's a heel.
Hmm.
He loves the spotlight. And Christian Cage, when he's a heel, he gets very jealous. And Wardlow has had a lot of success, and it makes sense why Christian Cage, wants to take that spotlight away from him.
Exactly. And we haven't talked about it yet, but can we talk about how insane it was when Christian was cutting the promo and everybody was saying Edge is better? That was funny.
I love when Christian gets a microphone in his hands and they tell him just go out there and just do whatever you want because it's a masterclass every time he does that. So, who do we got winning this match?
I gotta go with Wardlow, bro. I swear, if he has another meaningless loss for this title, I mean, he beat Joe for the title. A couple days later, lost it to Powerhouse Hobbs. A couple weeks later, he won it back. If he loses his title again, bro, I am at that point to where I'm almost gonna give up on Wardlow. As much as I like the fucking guy, like I'd rather him get out of AEW if that's the case. Like I don't. The dude had so much, bro. The dude was over as fuck when he turned on MJF. Oh my fucking! The guy could have been a fucking main event guy, but they have booked him like absolute garbage, man.
I like the pairing of him and Arn Anderson.
I do too, but when you have a fucking somebody in your corner that's supposed to be there as like sort of almost like a bodyguard or like somebody that's supposed to like help you out in situations, whatever. when you're bigger than them and you're like, yeah, why don't you stay back here to be safe? I don't necessarily know if you need somebody in your corner, if you have to keep your manager safe and out of harm's way. I mean, we're
Mhm.
talking about Arn Anderson, bro, one half of the Four Horsemen. I mean, he got fucking chokeslammed by Taker and got up and started whooping his ass at WrestleMania 18 when Taker fought Ric Flair. Remember that?
Mhm.
Like, I don't necessarily know. Like, I understand Arn Anderson's getting up there in age, but
Well,
you
Arn
know,
Anderson, the way that he's been as a manager, which I really like the way that they've done it with him because he's more like a mentor. He's like a coach. And I
yeah,
kind of like that, I like that character for him because it definitely adds more element to, whoever he's with. I think that, him and Cody, that was fantastic in AEW.
yeah.
And I think, with Wardlow, I think there's something missing with him and I think, Arn Anderson could potentially, bring that out of him, I think. And I think it's a pretty good pairing.
Whatever happened to Brock Anderson, bro?
And that's where I'm going to get into my predictions. I have Christian Cage beating Wardlow on some BS. I think that Wardlow is going to climb that ladder and Brock Anderson's going to come out and screw Wardlow because he's jealous that his father is paying attention to Wardlow and not him. Because Christian Cage has already mentioned Brock Anderson several times in the promos, leading to this match. And I
Yeah.
think that Christian's going to get in Brock Anderson's head. And I think Brock Anderson's going to, be under Christian's wing. And, it's going to be something similar to Dominic because it's worked for Dominic. And Brock Anderson, they've had nothing for him since, joining AEW. And I think that, he's gotten very good in the ring. He's been doing a lot of independent wrestling shows. And if there's something for Brock Anderson, it would be something involving his dad with jealousy because let's face it, as a babyface, he did nothing. But as a heel, he definitely probably can get a lot of heat for screwing Wardlow, and then Wardlow can come on Dynamite and, power bomb and beat the shit out of him. And that can
I
further him and Christian and make the storyline a little bit more interesting. I
yeah, but
understand your side of things because Wardlow has already put people over several times with this championship. But let's be honest here. What has Wardlow done with this championship so far? Is this championship prestigious like it
nothing,
once was?
nothing. So
And that's why he's got to
why
lose it and move on.
why do they keep giving it to him, bro? I guarantee you, he loses it, and then he'll end up winning it again in a couple weeks. I guarantee it, bro. They have a track record of doing this shit. I
And they
guarantee
need to
it.
stop. I think what they need to do, we need a fresh start with the championship. And what better way to get a fresh start with that championship than Christian Cage?
I
I
would
think
much
that
rather.
we can get a lot of solid feuds with him
I would much
in
rather
that
have.
title.
I would much rather have Luchasaurus and Christian tag team up against Jungle Boy and fucking Wardlow. That's what I would like to see. I'd much rather that.
I just think that we need a fresh start with that TNT title, and I think they need to move Wardlow on
That
from
TNT
it.
title has not been prestigious since fucking. Oh, I don't even know, man. Brody Lee had it.
I gotta say, Sammy Guevara was the last time. I think when he had that last run with the title, when he took the title off of Cody, and then had the title. I thought that that was the last time. And
That
then
he wasn't.
when they
He
had
didn't make.
when they had Scorpio Sky win it, that's when everything went downhill.
They didn't have. I mean, Brody Lee, bro. Nobody can top his TNT title reign. The
Well,
exalted one.
Cody Rhodes and Miro had very prestigious title runs too. That
I
are up
guess,
there.
but bro, it's been. I'm almost giving up on this title, man. Like it's like you might as well fucking take this title, put it on the coffee table, and eat it. Put your breakfast plate on it and eat dinner. Use it as a fucking plate for when you're eating dinner or something. Like that's how much this title is worth right now. This
Mhm.
title is WWE's titles are more prestigious than this
I don't
fucking
know. I
title.
just think that somebody like Christian could bring some prestige back to that TNT title more than Wardlow.
Probably, but I don't think Wardlow needs to fucking lose, bro. TK and AW are gonna look so retarded if Wardlow beats Samoa Joe for it. A couple days later, loses it to fucking Powerhouse Hobbs. Then beats Hobbs, wins the title, and now he's gonna lose it again to Christian. bro, they're gonna look like fucking idiots, and
They're pretty
everybody's
much
gonna.
booking they're pretty much booking Wardlow like Cody Rhodes at one point, where Cody was the champion. He would lose the title. Arn Anderson would coach him, to get the title back with the happy ending. And a lot of fans didn't really enjoy that. And I could see the same situation happening with Wardlow. But I do think that Brock Anderson is going, when Wardlow's about to get the title, Brock Anderson's going to, flip that ladder over, and Christian's going to escape and win the title, and we're actually going to get a fresh start with the title.
I They need to do something, bro, because I'm losing all faith that this title is gonna be, worth anything.
Mhm.
Right now it should be, displayed in like a public bathroom. That's how much the title's worth right now currently, and that's the fault of AEW. I mean,
Speaking of another lackluster match on the card before we get into our main event, we have a tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championships. Mark Briscoe will be the special guest referee for this. FTR defending the titles against, no surprise here, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal.
I was less excited about this match before we found out Mark Briscoe was gonna be involved. Now, secretly, I'm actually looking forward to seeing what happens. Just because I'm a huge fan of Mark, bro. I love the Briscoe brothers.
Mhm.
Rest in peace to Jay. I can't believe it's been 6 months, bro. It's nuts. I love what TK has done with Mark. Kept him on TV consistently. Allowed him to do this thing that him and his brother loved, and be able to carry on his brother's legacy. I like that. I love the what was it, the when they were on the Briscoe compound, the farm or whatever, with Satnam Singh holding the baby and the like, on Dynamite.
Oh, that
I
little
like
vignette, I remember that.
I like that quite a bit. And Mark Briscoe's dad was like, "You better not be trusting them boys."
Mhm.
Um, so if Mark Briscoe was not involved in this match as like special referee, I would have not gave two shits about it. Just because I don't think Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett should have a title shot. I don't think maybe Jay Lethal, but Jeff Jarrett, no. Jeff Jarrett, feel like is past that, and now that they're adding fucking Karen Jarrett in the mix, it's almost like fucking the remnants of fucking in TNA. We've been there, done that. Do we really need to fucking recycle shit that happened fucking over a decade ago? Um, Either way, I'm looking forward to it. Obviously we saw I can't remember if it was Cash or if it was Dax. They pile drove Mark Briscoe when the alcohol got thrown in their eyes on at the end of Dynamite or
Mhm.
on Dynamite a couple weeks ago. We have yet to see Mark, have any kind of interaction with FTR regarding that whole situation. Like, whose side is he gonna choose? And I feel like that's really what's gonna sell this match. Is people are gonna know, is Mark Briscoe gonna choose FTR, or is he gonna choose Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal and them? Like, they're so meaningless on TV. They don't even have a fucking like a name to call their group. It's funny.
Yes. So, my thoughts on all of this. I think that I would have no issue with this match if Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal didn't go against the Acclaim 3 times for the tag titles. If, Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal weren't a filler in Revolution in that, fatal 4-way tag match that nobody gave a shit about.
Hmm.
I like the storyline that we have here. It's simple booking, and sometimes simple booking does work. And I think putting Mark Briscoe in the middle here, it makes sense. He's had history with Jay Lethal in Ring of Honor. He's had history with FTR with those, fantastic, tag matches that they had, towards, the end of, him and his brother's tag team. And I think, having him as the referee, it definitely adds an element to the match that makes it, somewhat exciting. I think, Karen Jarrett being a part of, Jeff and Jay, I like it if they decide to move on from Sanjay and Satnam. I think that, the dynamic duo of Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal with Karen Jarrett could work. And it could
We've
definitely
seen it
be
before
more
though, bro.
entertaining than what we're getting with Sanjay and Satnam.
We've seen it before though, bro. Like, we've seen it for years on TNA. Like, what what is there, new that they can do with the storyline involving Karen Jarrett and Jeff Jarrett, like, that we haven't already seen before? You know what I mean? It's just
Yeah,
pointless.
but
I
I
don't
feel
like
like
it.
they need to move on from Sanjay and Satnam. Like, if they wanna keep Jeff and Jay as a tag team, they have
You
to
can
move
do
on
that.
from
You
Sanjay and Satnam.
You can do that without having Karen Jarrett in the mix. It's just too many remnants of TNA back in the day. Like, I can still see, Karen Jarrett in the ring yelling at Jeff Hardy, back in 2011, and like, yeah, I don't need to see it, man. I really, really do not try and this goes back
Hey,
to
the
the
reason why they do it, man, because Jeff Jarrett is one of those old school heels. He knows you can't stand it. He knows a lot of people can't stand it. And he's looking at it from an old school wrestling mindset because the heels are supposed to be hated. And Jeff Jarrett's character has always been hated even more when he had Karen Jarrett by his side.
he's looking at it from a fact that, oh, I can get my wife a job now. My wife
I
doesn't
don't
have
think
to
that's the
live my
case.
wife doesn't have to live off of my money.
Karen Jarrett, I've watched an interview with her. I believe it was on Chris Van Vliet's podcast not that long ago because I do like to follow certain people. And, she even said, like, when it comes to like being in wrestling, it has to make sense for her, to be a part of it. And if it benefits, Jeff, then she'll do it. And in this case, Jeff Jarrett, he's still in the best shape of his life. He understands the business. I know a lot of people don't like the fact that he's on TV consistently when you can be giving that to somebody else. But Jeff Jarrett has that experience, and what he needs to be doing in this run is putting people over. And, him as a legitimate heel, he's going to look at it from, that perspective. He knows that people can't stand him and, Jay Lethal with Sanjay and Satnam. And now bringing Karen into the mix, he knows we fucking hate it. And that's why, he is such a good heel at the end of the day.
I just think it's pointless, man. Like
Trust me, I think it is too.
I'm looking forward to this match because of Mark Briscoe, and he's not even technically in the match, so that speaks
I think
volumes.
FTR, Jeff and Jay Lethal, they're gonna put on a great tag match. I think, and I do think that FTR does win this match. I think that this is just a filler because I think the big match is FTR versus the Hardys in Wembley Stadium. I think, and we're just gonna have to wait and see.
A bigger match would be FTR and CM Punk versus Kenny Omega and the Bucks or something like that.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I don't think we're getting that.
I
I
don't know,
wish.
man. You never fucking know. I mean, for months and months, you and Ben swore up and down Punk wasn't gonna come back, and I stuck to my guns. It was like he's coming back, and he is.
I did
See,
have some hope. Ben was like, not happening.
all I'm saying is never say never, especially in this business, bro. Did we ever think we were gonna see fucking Jeff Jarrett in 2023 wrestling for a tag team title? No.
Nope. Did we think that Jeff Jarrett was going to have Karen Jarrett on AEW TV? Nope.
Uh,
So
part of me,
yeah, I got
part
FTR winning. You got FTR winning?
I got FTR winning, and they're not gonna lose to fucking Jeff Jarrett and Sanjay or Jeff Jarrett. I don't even know who's in the fucking match.
Oh man.
Let's move on.
Yeah. Well, we got FTR winning this match, and hopefully they do something different with Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. I like the connection. I like them as a tag team. I just can't stand Satnam and Sanjay Dutt. It makes no sense.
Yeah.
Just have Sanjay Dutt continue to do his backstage role, which he's very good at, and Satnam Singh, send him back to, LA Fitness and send him, back to the NBA or have him, wrestle on AEW dark matches before the shows or Ring of Honor where I don't watch it, so I don't have to see him. Moving on now to the main event for AEW Double or Nothing. We have MJF defending the AEW World Championship against Sammy Guevara versus Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Darby Allin, the four pillars of AEW main eventing Double or Nothing.
I'm really looking forward to this match, man. I don't know what else to say. Like the four pillars of AEW, they're gonna showcase, all their abilities, and you know, we know how talented they are, but I feel like a lot of people don't understand it. I've been hearing a lot of critiquing about, why is Jungle Boy and Darby Allin in this match? They're small and scrawny, and they're not talented in the ring, and there's just a lot of AEW haters that just don't quite understand how big this moment is going to be. For AEW alone. These are, four AEW originals in the match. And all these assholes online, um, AEW is only, WWE Light or WWE 2.0, and, they sign all WWE talent. And, bro, like everybody that's in a huge match at the show are pretty much all originals in AEW. Everybody that's a champion on AWTV for the most part, AW originals. You know what I mean?
Very
Um,
true.
so I like this moment's just gonna be huge, bro. It's gonna be out of this world huge. Like it's gonna be a huge moment for them. It's gonna be a huge moment for the company. And I feel like they're really gonna showcase to the world, like, hey, motherfucker, I may be small, but I deserve to be in this position right now. It's gonna be awesome.
I'm really looking forward to this, fatal four-way match. I think that honestly, right now in MJF's title run, this is definitely the best thing to do. He just came off, having one of the greatest Iron Man matches of all time with Bryan Danielson. And now, throwing him in like a filler type of, storyline, I think is a good thing for him because then it's going to feel more important when MJF eventually goes against Adam Cole, which I believe is the
Bro,
next,
that match is
storyline
gonna
that's
be
going to happen.
that match is gonna be fucking huge, bro.
So I gotta say, overall with this fatal four-way match, it has felt like a filler, match for MJF because I think that the long-term goal here is MJF versus Adam Cole because according to, some reports, they wanted the whole, thing last week on AEW Dynamite to where, Britt Baker, teases that it's going to be Adam Cole next, but they didn't want to spoil it because of this, main event, even though we all know who's going to win this match. It's obvious.
Mhm.
But I do think that this has been pretty entertaining. And I think that this is more about All Elite Wrestling than it is, about MJF's world title run, because this is going to be a historic moment that in AEW, we're going to be looking back at this clip of all four of them looking at each other in the middle of that ring during Double or Nothing 10 years from now. And this is going to be, definitely a legendary match. And I think that, this is well deserving for all four guys. I think that Sammy Guevara, has definitely been, one of the best, AEW homegrown talent. I think that Jericho right now is holding him back from his full potential. And the whole, situation with, his wife and then, the tie thing, that definitely didn't help Sammy Guevara because he was getting to that world heavyweight title as one of the top baby faces until all that shit came out. Then we have Jungle Boy Jack Perry, who, has a lot of promise. I think there's still some things missing, but he is getting a lot better on the microphone. I
Oh
will
yeah.
say he reminds me a lot when he's talking, similar to Bret Hart in 1997. Like, I'm starting to see that attitude with him. And I think eventually when Jungle Boy becomes a heel, that's where he's going to really take off.
Well, I
Then we
mean, look who his dad was, bro. His dad was like a Hollywood A-lister for a lot of years, So I mean, that I'm pretty sure that obviously pro wrestling, it's stage, it's acting, it's so many elements like that go into it. So I mean, he had a head start above anybody else, I
But
think.
he's really done a fantastic job holding his own throughout this entire feud.
Hmm.
And then we have Darby Allin, who obviously is one of the most popular homegrown AEW talent that I would love to see win the AEW world title if they were going to, take it off of MJF.
Did you hear
Darby
what
would be
he's gonna be
somebody I would
doing?
like.
Did you hear what Darby Allin's gonna be doing?
What's he going to be doing?
He's gonna be taking 10 weeks off of television next April or May, and he's gonna be climbing Mount Everest, and he's gonna plant a giant AEW flag at the top of Mount Everest.
That's awesome. I did see something about that. But I do think like all four guys, they have really proved themselves to be the four pillars of AEW. And I'm really looking forward to this. I think that MJF is obviously going to be the one to win this match. I think that, Sammy Guevara they tried to have that baby face, underdog promo last week, and that
Yep.
crowd just still wasn't having it. He really wasn't getting the reactions that I think he was expecting to get because, grew a lot of respect for Sammy Guevara, like during the whole, all access thing. And I've met, hundreds of wrestlers, and Sammy Guevara is easily like in my top 5, one of the nicest dudes I met. But, like he's still not very over with the crowd. And a lot of the things that happened, behind the scenes might have cost him, that AEW world title.
I'm confused. Is he babyface or is he still part of JAS? I'm so confused about like what's happening, bro. He's been babyface the last several weeks, and we haven't like he hasn't really been with JS in a while, and well,
That's
I don't
why
know
I'm
what's
just
going
waiting for
on.
that big payoff to happen where like he turns on Jericho. Like I would love that to be their next feud. Like Jericho and Sammy Guevara, they should be building that for Wembley Stadium because there's
It does.
history behind that.
It does almost seem like every single faction Jericho's had in AEW, Sammy Guevara has always been like his right hand man. You know what I mean? Even before Jake Hager came
There's
in the
nothing
picture.
bigger for Chris Jericho at Wembley Stadium than Sammy Guevara, I think.
But I want them to have a great. I want the story to be obviously it's got story because of like their history with each other.
All
But
summer build this.
I want them to have a great story. I want them to have a lot of story going into the match. I don't want this match just to randomly be thrown out there. You know what
Can't.
I mean?
Can't be, because then it's not going to be as good. Like with Chris Jericho, you can have him be disappointed in Sammy Guevara after he loses this, opportunity. And Jericho could be disappointed in him. And Sammy Guevara could be really questioning, like, Jericho Appreciation Society. And Jericho can turn on Sammy Guevara to where the fans are going to start getting behind Sammy. And that's how you can build this feud and have it, you can have multiple matches and, add a stipulation to the Wembley Stadium match between the two. I think that's what they really should do with Sammy
For all
Guevara moving forward.
For all we know, bro, obviously we said earlier on in the video we're recording this before Dynamite, so we don't know what's gonna be, announced by the time this prediction video does come out. But for all we know, we could have like a backstage, segment with Sammy and Jericho tonight, and Jericho pretty much wishing him luck, and Sammy being like, I'm gonna bring the title to JS. And then it doesn't happen, and that's what really gets the ball rolling on this match happening at Wembley Stadium, Jericho versus Sammy Guevara.
And it would be great for Jericho to be in like an actual long-term storyline with, somebody that he's been working with since, joining AEW. But
Yeah.
now, diving into, Jack Perry, I've been very impressed with him, throughout this entire 4-pillar storyline. I'm starting to see, the potential that, other guys are seeing with him. I might not agree with, his mindset with, when it comes to the wrestling veterans and, what he was saying during that whole, trip that he had in like the UK. I
Hmm.
didn't really, I don't really agree with a lot of his, takes, but I'm not going to take away his talent that he has. Like, I think that he's fantastic. I think that, the best is yet to come for him. And with Darby Allin, I think that they like really need to do something with him. I feel like, if there's anybody out of, all 4 of them that I would like to see, it would be Darby Allin
Hmm.
winning, but I don't know what they're going to do with him. Like they just keep having him in these filler type of feuds and matches, and it's like whatever they do with him, he's still over with the crowd. But I kind of want something, different for Darby.
Yep. I do think, I do think how I think it's gonna play out is all 3 of these guys are gonna spend a lot of the time beating the shit out of MJF. Because MJF is that cocky son of a bitch that thinks he's better than everybody else, and obviously it's in his
Mm-hmm.
catchphrase. So, Darby, Jungle Boy, and Sammy, they're all gonna beat up MJF, and then they're gonna beat on each other or whatever, and then MJF is gonna get he's gonna win, but I do feel like, he doesn't necessarily cheat, but like, somebody gets knocked out and then, MJF sneaks in there and gets the victory. That's how I
Oh, he's going to
just because
escape. That's
just
how his title run's been, which has been
yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, man.
And I think, MJF is going to win this. And I think that we could see Adam Cole, on the top of the stage. And that's what's going to, tease the next, feud between both men, which I think Adam Cole versus MJF, that definitely has a lot of money that
Oh
could
yeah,
be made.
definitely, definitely. It's gonna be great, man. I can't wait until Sunday, and then obviously this is not AW related, but we have Night of Champions on Saturday, so it's gonna be a busy weekend, man. You're gonna have a lot of content on the channel.
That's right, guys. And to the listeners, to, the viewers, watching this AEW Double or Nothing predictions, who, stuck by this the whole time, let us know in the comment section below which match you're excited about for AEW Double or Nothing. Also, we're going to be doing a live watch along on the We Are Wrestling YouTube channel Sunday for AEW Double or Nothing. If you guys enjoyed this predictions video, make sure to smash that like button now. If you're not a We Are Wrestling Maniac yet already, subscribe, turn on the post notifications. If you're listening to us, follow us, give us a 5-star review. It'll make Danny's day. The link's down in the description below. You can go follow Danny and I on our social medias and other YouTube pages, all that down below. In addition, you want shorter clips of the podcast, you can't sit through an hour and a half of us rambling about wrestling, well, you can go on to our TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter and watch some of those small clips. All the links down below. And of course, to all the We Are Wrestling Maniacs out there worldwide, we are taking over. Peace.
You wanna know what makes Danny's nipples hard? Getting downloaded on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, man. 5-star reviews all fucking day.